Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up. You don't want to miss that, or maybe you do, but I hope you won't. Anyway, a lot we're going to cover on this program, and where we want to start, and not just start, but focus on, and for much of the program, is the problem of hunger in general and specific to this area as well. Three very special guests who help us with this topic every year about this time. Eric Aft, the CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina, and the Daggett Schuler guys are here, both attorneys from Daggett Schuler, and we welcome all three of you. Good to see you.
Hey, Jim.
Good to see you.
Eric, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes with you first. Just remind everybody what the mission of the food bank is, the geographical area you cover, how many people do you serve? Give us the stats on that.
You got it. Well, we focus on the immediate challenge of hunger as well as its root causes. In the 18 counties of Northwest North Carolina, we often say from Boone to Burlington to Statesville to the Virginia line. And we're very proud to support a huge network of 515 programs across that region that are on the front lines every single day.
Wow. Now, let's make sure people also understand, and you and I do this once a year, so just to sort of remind people that people don't come to your office and get food. This is although you help, thousands and thousands of people. Talk about the agencies and that you work with.
That's exactly right. We are basically the wholesaler. In most situations, we actually do some direct distributions as well, but our retail locations are really, again, our partners. Our 515 different types of programs, mainly food pantries when we think about churches or nonprofits, community-based organizations where people go and get direct assistance, but also soup kitchens and congregate meal sites, and then also after-school programs for kids and senior meal programs.
Right. And now I mentioned a minute ago, let me circle back to when I was asking the first question. I said, in a typical year, Eric, well, let me go back to that. Because since the pandemic, we haven't had a typical year. So tell me how the need, how's the hunger problem been during and coming out of the pandemic? What's the need been for food?
Yeah, it's been a difficult year, multiple years for all of us. And, during the height of the pandemic, we've been so fortunate for the community rallying. There's a lot of government resources out there also to assist in our work and in other ways as well. Coming out of the pandemic, a lot of things stopped. The government assistance decreased, multiple benefits for families, and then inflation hit us all. So actually, in this current environment, over the past 9 months, it has been more challenging for us than it really has been over the past 2 or 3 years.
Is there a percent, I don't want to put you on the spot, is there a percentage increase you've seen, like from a normal year, like 2019 or whatever, to now, or during the, what's the increase in?
Well, to give you an idea, over the first 9 months that we have statistics for the year, we have seen almost double-digit increases every single month. A couple months we were level, but we've seen 7, 8, 9% every month, and that's additive.
Right.
So, we are seeing real challenges among our partners.
David, how long have you and Griff and your team at Daggett Schuler been involved in, let's say, community food drives?
I would like to say forever, and that's not much of an exaggeration. I remember helping with those, back when I was a student, and it's kind of a little bit in our DNA to help with this. The amazing thing about the Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina is I don't think the average person, the average listener, has any idea how big and how complicated and the logistics in just what they do in our area.
It's like Eric has to run this army of food.
It is an army.
Griff, before time runs out on this particular segment, I was curious, you and David, I know personally, get asked a lot of things and to help a lot of groups, and you do help a lot of groups and individuals throughout the community. Why is the food bank so high on your list?
I think one of the things is that with our law firm, we're trying to have care and respect for injured and disabled people that are in need. And the food bank and Second Harvest Food Bank is meeting people where they need things. And so I think that's one of the things, it's something that we see every day with our own clients, people that are struggling, people that have had the impact of inflation on their lives, all the external things, and then they have an accident or they're not able to work, and it's even worse. And being able to meet the needs of the less fortunate in our community is invaluable, and that's something that really resonates with David and me.
Yeah, you and David help a lot of people in crisis, and Eric helps a lot of people who have like a chronic crisis almost. It's a similar thing. Hey, look, we're going to go more into depth in some of these things in just a few minutes, but let me just put this up on screen. Second Harvest, NWNC.org is a website that you can get more information on, and you can also, if you need the guys at Daggett Schuler, DaggettSchulerLaw.com, or you can call 336-724-1234. We will continue this right after this break. Back now on Triad Today as we continue our discussion about alleviating hunger in this area with Eric Aft, David Daggett, and Griff Schuler. Eric, you have something called a mobile pantry going on. What's that all about?
Yeah, we're very excited. United Healthcare helped us to create a mobile unit that we're going to be able to bring fresh vegetables and produce out to neighborhoods often referred to as food deserts. But also we're coupling that with our nutrition team who will help educate people about how do you use those fresh vegetables, how do you use things to kind of create healthier recipes for your family.
I think that's great. And very quickly remind folks, how bad is the childhood hunger situation?
Yeah, and with that mobile unit, we're going to be able to do things with kids in that way. And unfortunately, 1 in 7 of our kids face food insecurity in our region. So when you think about a classroom of kids, that's a lot of kids.
You know, Griff, you and David have worked a lot with kids and the Safe Sober program, but I'm specifically thinking about backpacks and other things where you get them ready for school, you get them prepared.
Right.
Eric's now alluding to things and ways the food bank helps kids get prepared for life. It's not just now solving a food problem, but it helps them in the future and the community, right?
Exactly, and I think that helping our young people has been very, very important for David and me. And I think when you're able to get and help kids when they're in need, that's really something that we should all get around as a community. If we can't get around our young people, particularly young people that aren't having the food they need, then what can we get involved with? What can we do if we're not going to do that?
David, one thing I want to ask you about is how important is it for businesses to get involved in some way with the food bank?
Well, it's tremendously important for businesses because the ironic part is if you stay secluded in the business world, it looks like everybody's doing pretty well. And in our area, it's ironic that we have this food desert. Well, we're in a nice office building and things are going
People
well.
don't believe it. We're the city of the arts and all that stuff.
In the businesses partnering with the Second Harvest Food Bank, we can be a bridge that addresses those issues. And, we're all little dots. And Eric connecting these dots helps us all do better.
Important for guys like this and other businesses to help out, right?
Absolutely. It's creating those connections. We can all make a difference around a childhood hunger or hunger overall in our community. So we need everybody pulling together so we can make that difference.
I refer to this generally as the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's and all that. So I guess my last question to you, Eric, is what are some ways, other than what we've discussed, that people can help donate or help support the food bank?
Well, I think they can come volunteer, they can make donations, they can also help do food drives in their neighborhood or with their faith organizations. Just any way to really make a difference in the life of a family is, whatever they're called to do, they should take action around it.
Quickly, I wanted to add, we got a food drive going on in our office right now, and you mentioned donations. There's a donation on top of that.
So
thank you, guys.
Hey, good job. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Invite other businesses, small part, large part, join in because it makes our community better. It makes the future better for all of us.
Absolutely. Up on screen. For more information, Second Harvest, NWNC.org, refers to Northwest North Carolina. Check that out. And if you need the services of these gentlemen behind me, DaggettSchulerLaw.com, or you can call 724-1234. Guys, thanks for all you do, collectively, individually. Appreciate it. Good job. All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Back now on Triad Today, I'd like to talk about the serious subject of lung cancer, but maybe more specifically, something I wasn't that aware of, types of lung cancer screenings. And the gentleman that can help us understand all this is with us. He's a first-time visitor to the show, Dr. Garrett Sherwood. He's a medical oncologist with Novant Health Cancer Institute. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
And a local guy, as we found out off camera, spent most of his childhood in Greensboro, went to Grimsley High School.
That's correct. Go Whirlies.
Doc, just very quickly, how prevalent is lung cancer?
It's very prevalent. It's actually the second most common type of cancer that is diagnosed in both men and women. So,
And you know, when we talk about different types of cancer, some have very specific signs and symptoms. What about lung cancer?
yeah, that's one of the tricky things about it is that often the signs and symptoms are dismissed as something infectious, whether it's, COVID, pneumonia, bronchitis, something like that. And it's not until someone's had those symptoms for a long time before it prompts their doctor to order a more advanced study.
So how is lung cancer even diagnosed then?
Well, unfortunately, we find it by accident a lot, and then we also find it at late stages a lot more often than we want to. People losing weight, coughing up blood, and by that time, the cancer's fairly advanced.
You partially answered this, and I might ask a stupid question, but I'm curious. Why is the diagnosis made so late where the prognosis becomes poor?
Yeah.
I mean, why does that happen so
That's
often?
really that's the big, probably the biggest thing we have to tackle in lung cancer. And I think the short answer is that we're not screening for lung cancer like we are for other cancers.
Absolutely, yeah. And that brings me to this because we've done a lot of health segments over the years. We're going into our 20th year next year, but I've never covered lung cancer screening. What kind of screening are we talking about?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because actually the first screening guidelines were published about a decade ago in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. So the screening that we're referencing is annual low-dose CAT scans. The screening guidelines recently were updated to include adults aged 50 to 80 who are either currently smoking or have quit within the last 15 years.
Okay, so you're talking about more of an at-risk population should get these CT scans.
Absolutely. So the screening is not for everybody, but certainly focusing on the population that is most at risk, which is smokers.
Right. So how are you going to determine? I mean, if is this covered by insurance? Let's say somebody's 50 years old, has been a smoker or is a smoker. Is that fully covered when he or she wants to come in?
Should be covered with no out-of-pocket for the patient. Almost all insurances should cover the test.
Right. Now, is there anything, here again, I think I know the answer to this one, but any particular things that we should do early on or even any time to lessen the chance that lung cancer will develop?
Yeah, I think just knowing who's at risk, whether it's yourself or your family members, and encouraging them to talk to their doctor about getting screened, and not just getting screened once. These are annual scans.
They are. So in other words, would the primary physician or would you as a medical oncologist, who would sort of keep up with this to know that, John Doe patient is a smoker, therefore he's at risk, therefore it's going to be covered, but he needs to come every year? Who keeps up with that?
Yeah, the Cancer Institute needs to own that, and we need to partner with the primary care doctors. So they initiate the screening, and then we have to be there waiting in the wings to know what to do if there is a finding on the screening, how to talk to patients about that, and how to quickly get them evaluated.
Right. Up on screen, I want to do something here. Make sure we put it up here. The website is novonthealth.org/cancer. That will get you directly to that. We have about 10, 15 seconds left, Doc. You sort of spilled the beans when we were off camera before we started, but you come by your career honestly, right?
That's correct, yeah. My father is an oral surgeon, and so he's the one that got me interested in medicine.
How about that? That's great. Well, I know he's proud of you. Will you come back sometime?
I'd love to, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the good information, too. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, we welcome back a guest who was here with us some years ago. We're always glad when she could spend a few moments with us. Our good friend, Carolyn Rhodes. She's director of Alamance Community College's Foundation. And good to see you again.
Well, it's wonderful to be here again, and I love the new setting.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
And good things to see inside and out here at the Garden. Hey, look, I just heard, I guess it was an email you sent me or something, that the college is offering something new, and it's called the Alamance Promise. The Alamance is for Alamance Community College, the Promise. What is that all about?
Well, it really builds on a great program that we've run for many, many years, but it simplifies our process for applying for scholarships and does give some students new opportunities to receive help to go to college.
Well, now, how is the foundation, maybe this is too inside information, but I'm curious, how does the foundation pull this off? I mean, how is it possible for you to be so generous?
Well, we're really lucky in Alamance County because we have so many wonderful business, organization, and individual supporters who really understand and believe that the helping students to get a college education will help them support their families, themselves, and strengthen the overall workforce.
Now, help me understand this. Under this program of the Alamance Promise, does it cover just like free tuition and other associated fees, or does it cover everything? Does it extend to anything else?
Well, as we've done for many, many years, it does help students to afford some of the extras as well. So many of our students are involved in state and national competitions. Some of our programs require some sort of certification in order to practice that profession. So we work with the department heads to help students participate fully in that.
You know, students of all ages who go to Alamance Community College and other colleges and universities have barriers they have to overcome. It could be anything from transportation to child care to whatever. Now, the way the Promise funds are set up and distributed, that really makes a difference between maybe a student staying in school and not, right?
That's exactly right. We have our scholarship funds in order to help students to attend college, but we realize that it's not enough to get them inside the door. They need to receive support while they're there. Many of our students live pretty close to the edge financially. It doesn't take much to knock them off course. So we are there to help them if they have kind of a one-time expense to get them through a difficult time with maybe getting behind in their rent or a car repair. Sometimes it's childcare. We are not a permanent solution. We are not the DSS, but we are there to help them with a Band-Aid until they can get other things in place.
Right. Carol, are there any restrictions on who can apply for this?
No, unlike other programs that I know exist in North Carolina, we have always extended our scholarship assistance to students from any part of North Carolina and indeed beyond. And we don't limit it to only recent high school graduates or having come from a particular high school. We welcome applications from all comers.
Well, I'm glad you said application, because in just a second we're going to put up on screen ways they can get more information, learn about the application. But very quickly, is it complicated to fill that out or what?
Well, it is, they need to go to our website, and I think you're going to put that up on the screen, so I won't repeat it now.
Right.
But it is a 4-step process. They need to apply to the college and second, get a residency determination. They do need to complete the FAFSA, which is a common form used by every single college and university in the United States. We know some students have barriers to completing the FAFSA. For a variety of reasons. And if they run into any barriers for any reason, they should reach out to financial aid staff who are there to help them.
All right, up on the screen, alamance.edu/alamance-promise. Please check that out, folks. It gives you all sorts of information. This is a great, great program. And Carol, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing for so many people. Thanks for doing this.
It's a wonderful part of my job.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden. Year round, there are things to see, things to do. You can use the facility, rent the facility. You can do anything you want to here, including watch the roundtable. And right now, next to me on the right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. David Daggett held over from an earlier segment where he and Griff and Eric Aft talked about food and the food problem and hunger and how to alleviate that. So he's back with us. And Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, a number of states, since it's post-election time, a number of states still allow mail-in ballots to be counted long after Election Day, sometimes 4, 5, even 9 days. Should there be a federal law that requires all mail-in ballots to be postmarked 2 weeks prior to the election so that everything can be counted on that night? Ogie.
Maybe not 2 weeks, but I'd say have them postmarked by noon Sunday. That way you still got 2 days before Tuesday. That should do it.
Right.
Do
David?
they postmark on Sunday?
I don't know.
Yeah, there should be a uniform date. They should be postmarked. In North Carolina right now, they have to be postmarked before Election Day.
Well, in the last in 2020, it was 9 days after they were still counting, so they were taking.
But yes, it should be uniform, and we eliminate all the controversy over the mail-in ballots.
Keith.
No, I think it's working fine. I just think that we just need to continue to allow the process to go forward. I don't think it's broken.
All right. Schools in Rochester, New York have begun locking away students' cell phones so there are no distractions during class, but parents are angry because they want to be able to reach their kids in case of an emergency. Are you okay with locking up student cell phones? Or maybe, what do you guys think about putting phones in a basket on the teacher's desk or something? Ogie?
I think they should be left at home. Times have changed. I mean, why do kids need cell phones at school? Really?
All right, David.
It's interesting. I get in and out of a lot of schools, and I've been in some classrooms where they have a thing hanging on the wall with pockets in it.
Okay.
And
Put the phones
you
in
put
there.
your phone in the pocket.
It's a good system.
They do need phones at school, Ogie. Unfortunately, you know, I coach over at Reynolds High School, and activities and things change a little more frequently.
Notifications.
And with shorter notice than we had when we were coming along. So having it available during the day is important.
What do you think?
So the parents need to reach them. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. If they need to reach them, they can call the school if it's an emergency. If there's an emergency, they can go to the school and get their phone out of the locker and call. But I don't think that we need to have phones on the kids.
All right, don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but speaking of kids, there's an editor of Reason magazine that reported that 20 years ago, half of all teenage males had a part-time job, while today only 1/3 do. Does this surprise you? And do you think teenagers should have a part-time job? Quickly,
I
Ogie.
think it would help, you know, just develop somehow. I mean, I've carried papers, mowed lawns, and I mean, it just gives you a good start in life.
David Daggett.
Yeah, after school or summer jobs, very, very important, very developmental for our young people.
Keith.
Absolutely. As a former president, Urban League, jobs in the summer was part of what we did. But I think the trade school needs to go back into the schools so these kids can understand and learn a trade.
Absolutely. All right, now guys, since it's the holiday season and time for reflection, I'm going to ask you 3 personal questions, but you just combine them in your answer. What were you most pleased about the year 2022? What were you most disappointed about? And what are you most thankful for as we end one year and begin another? Ogie Overman.
Well, I was pleased that I had some health issues and I came out smelling like a rose.
You did, and we're glad.
I try to keep an attitude of gratitude. There's not specific things, well, there are, but I mean, just in general, I try to keep that spirit of gratitude with me at all times.
Yeah, we didn't really tell the audience about all the details, but yeah, you went through it and came out on the other end. And what are you disappointed about from 2022?
Well, Trump's still around. I mean, hello, here we go again.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else is great.
All right. And anything in particular you're thankful for as we end one year and go into another?
Yeah, just that I'm here and I'm happy and things are going well.
And always well dressed too.
Well, of course.
The best.
David Daggett, first of all, the year itself, anything you're pleased about from the year 2020?
Well, I think
2022.
things are opening up, and as things have opened up, I respected and was grateful for things that I missed during that period of time.
During the pandemic.
And so I'm pretty excited and pretty grateful for that.
2022 sort of got us back a little bit toward normal.
It's a new normal, but it's getting us closer to normal.
But the year 2022, what in this past year maybe disappointed you?
Well, the continuing acrimony we have in society. Ogie mentioned one person, but it's more than just that. We're very polarized, and every issue seems to have acrimony attached to it, not a reasonable, thought out, try to get a solution.
All right, Keith.
What I'm thankful for?
Yeah.
My grandmother is healthy. All my family's still here. Opportunity to spend time with my loved ones and my mom and brothers. So I'm very thankful for that.
And for the 4 of us to spend time
I'm
together.
not thankful for that.
No, you're not thankful for that. And finally, this is a news story. The National Park Service just asked visitors not to lick frogs or toads because some of them may have psychedelic toxins on their skin. Guys, have you ever licked or kissed a frog? Ogie.
I was trying to look back to the old days when I did the strange things.
That you didn't realize you were doing?
I really don't think
You don't think you
if
did?
I did, I don't remember.
David?
It's been argued that I may have been a frog at one time, and I got kissed by my wife, and so.
And she turned you into a prince?
Yes.
Keith, have you ever kissed or licked a frog or a toad?
Have I ever kissed or licked a frog?
Yeah.
I'm sure I have. I'm almost positive I've kissed some frogs before.
Well, I think I know what you're talking about. Unfortunately, God,
Not many,
no.
but maybe one or two.
Yeah, all
And
right.
when I was in high school,
You're sexist. All right, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. A New York City cop recently found a man living in the sewer. He didn't have to. There were homeless shelters around and whatever, but he said, why in the world would you choose to live in a stinking, smelly sewer? And the guy said, I'm preparing for a career in politics. Does it make any sense to you guys? All right. Happy holiday season and all that good stuff. Thanks,
Happy
guys.
holidays to everybody.
All right. We'll see you next time.